Right, so I've got my wheels back with new boots on. Before I put them on, what I want to do, sort the forks out, change the oils and stuff, and look at the brakes as well. Now, those fork tops don't look to be quite even, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo these pinch bolts here, just drop the fork out. We'll do one at a time. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark in there roughly, so I know roughly where the fork sits, because they recommend taking the tops off to do it and get it all out, but I think I can do it just by doing those pinch bolts and drop them straight out. So I'll get that done and we'll get some oil swapped.
5 minutes later.
I did end up taking the handlebar clamps off in the end. No big issue, just a couple of cap head bolts. Right, so these are soft jaws, so they're clamped right in, made out of aluminium, so they won't damage the forks. Push that down and I should be able to get the little O-ringy thing out. Where's that gone? Come on. I was going for the wrong side. There we go. Come out. What's going on here? There's a bit of marring on the inside there. Right, put that ring back in and I'm going to get the file out. We're going to deburr that. Put that through there like that, make life easy. Fingers and thumbs today, aren't I? Right, I don't know how well you can see that. Zoomy zoomy. It's all burred up. File. Might get away with that. That's better. Got it. Spacer. Lovely. A bit rusty. Right. Pull the fork tube up. That's where the washer goes. And the mainspring. Notice with a progressive spring, hang on, let's unzoom you a bit. Tighter coils to the top. Right, let's get some oil drained out. It's a bit ganky, but not too serious. Seen worse. Give that a couple of pumps and let it drain out properly.
1 minute later.
Right, whilst we're here, I am going to pop the dust seal off and we'll have a look. Just cleaning off the fork seal as well. I'm going to remove them. They look alright, just want them to be a bit clean and make sure there's no marring on the seals or anything. Bit of moisture in there though. That's why it's always worth taking them out and giving them a clean. Right, I've got a bit of plastic off an old Moo Juice container. I'm just going to try and get that down the back of the seal, between the seal and the fork stanchion. Just going to run it around. Try and remove any bits of crap that are in there. Sometimes you just get a bit of dirt in that can make you think your seals are blown. So whilst we're here, there's no damage to the fork stanchion anywhere. It's looking okay. I'm happy with that. Dust seal back on. Come on. There we go. Right, let's get some juice back in it. Right, I've read varying things on these. They reckon these are, even though it's a ZZR 400, it's the same as a ZZR 600. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to chuck half a litre of oil in. I want that to happen. There we go. And then we'll get it to the correct level. Apparently the correct level is 98mm plus or minus 2mm with the fork fully compressed. So we'll exercise the fork leg a couple of times. Right, this is my little homemade thing. I've set it, sits on that piece there, so I've set it to 98mm. Put that in and we'll fuck some oil out when I find the syringe, which I had less than 20 seconds ago. There. Make sure that fork is fully compressed. Wasn't quite compressed, so we'll do it again. Lose some oil. So that's the correct level now. Make sure that sits flat. one done.
A few moments later.
Right, so that's both of them done. That one was a little bit stinkier. So I'll get that fitted, pinch everything up. The pinch bolts was 20 Newton meters. So I'll get all that done and then we'll get the front wheel back on.
15 minutes later.
So that's the forks back on, nipped up. Before I put the mudguard on, I am going to disconnect the brake lines. So just so I've got access. So I'll get that done and then we'll get the brakes stripped down and cleaned and serviced.
A few minutes later.
So I've disconnected my old brake hoses. I'm not using this splitter anymore, so what I've done, I've capped it off with those little M10x1 blanking plugs thing, plastic. So if somebody does want to use it in the future, it's there. Also stuck it in the master cylinders as well because it stops them dripping everywhere. So, brake calipers. They're actually in pretty good nick. They just need a really good clean. I've got new hoses to go on as well. The only things I'm going to replace is the front pins, because they're a little seized and horrible and claggy, but the brake pads, fine, there's plenty of meat on them, just need a good clean. A bit of a chick out of that one. We'll give them a good clean, see how they turn out, but I reckon they're going to be okay. Back's the same, just need a good degunge and a good grease up. So we'll give them a good sorting. Right, that's everything cleaned. Going to give them a little while to dry out now. The calipers are on the bins, drying out in the wind naturally. Look, it's quite warm and windy today. So while that's happening, I'm going to get the wheels back on.
One eternity later.
So all the shitty little jobs that take time on these. Thread's mullered on that rear axle, so now I've got to get at it with a thread file to try and sort it out. Because the nut does go on, because it came off, so it does go on obviously. But it starts to bind up, which ain't great. It's starting to bind up there, so we're not getting full use of the threads on there, so let's get them cleaned up with thread file. Right, that looks to be about 1.5. I don't know then. Yeah, 1.5. There's my 1.5 there. To be fair, this one ain't far off needing a new axle. That's better. Much betterer. Still tight on there. That'll do. That noise you hear in the background is one of my neighbours attacking their conifer tree. How do I know? I can smell it. Smells lovely. Right then, that's them done. Had a bit of faff with the spring on that one, but I think we've got it. Let's get them back on the bike. So the front brake pipes are on, not a problem. Back one, these are out of line. That wants to sit like that. If I turn it to fit, it kinks the whole hose. So that will be going back to the manufacturer. I'm going to have to make one up to fit that.
Tomorrow.
Right, I've sussed it out. I didn't have the right size banjos. So what I've done is, I've got this end, clamped it in the vise and turned that 90 degrees. It turned actually really easily, so hopefully it won't leak. And I wasn't, the routing on that angle there is a bit wrong, I think, because if it goes the other way, it bends down and touches that. So I'm not 100% sure this is actually the right connector on here, but it's in. So we'll get them bled, see if it works.
3 hours later.
Right, we now have working brake. Happy days. Right, next job, I need to put the chain on and we'll get the chain tensioned. Why do people use so much chain lube? You don't need to. Stop it, it's naughty. You put the oozy white liquid in its hole. Let me stay on, will they stay on? They're not going to stay on, are they? Okay, we'll do this the hard way. I think that'll do. 30 to 40 mils, that's what the book says. Get that locked off there. Ow, doing this back out because you're in the way. I blame you. Anybody think I've never done this before? I say that quite a lot, don't I? It's a sadism. There you go, that ain't coming out. Got it. Right, that master link in there, the split link one, I'm leaving under the seat, so if there are any problems in the future with the chain, at least we've got another option for joining it back together if we need to. So there we are then, shiny new boots on, brakes that work, new chain that's tensioned, happy days. Next to do is engine oil change, coolant change, get the fairings on, we can get ready for the MOT. Thanks for watching.